Hey guys, I promised you guys a video today, so here it is. Right off the bat, no cracks about my sideburns. They are flaring out. I need to trim them, and no cracks about the beard. It's -7. Babyface doesn't cut it in -7. Okay, okay. So, Watch Dogs. Apparently, Ubisoft just released on a conference call, I guess, like an investors meeting or something, that they're putting out Watch Dogs sometime between April and June, which is just a quarterly thing. What they said was, this is the quarter we're releasing it in, this is what we expect, blah, 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 blah. And the internet's going, confirmed release for Watch Dogs, April to June. By that estimation, Watch Dogs had a confirmed release of November, I think it was 18th or something at the time, and then they pushed it back like 2 weeks out. So, I'm not saying that this is going to turn into another delay of Watch Dogs. I don't think that's the case. I do think that the release, between April and June, I think that's sound. I think it's coming. I'm not worried about that. But I do take issue with the use of the word confirmed. I think the word estimated would be a lot better. And my thought process is there's going to be a lot of people on the net that if April 1st comes and goes and there's no Watch Dogs, they're going to be like, sky falling, Chicken Little, save us! No, you don't want to do that. So, expect it by the end of June. You will not be disappointed. It'll come out. If any of you are watching this, have a Wii U, I'm really sorry, because Watch Dogs is indefinitely delayed on the Wii U. And I think that has more to do with them wanting to integrate features that are indicative and exclusive, not indicative, indigenous, I should say, to the Wii U, and do it right. So, that'd be my guess. But again, with where Nintendo's been going lately, and I'll talk about that some other time, I think part of it might be, let's see where the Wii is in a couple months, see if it's worth even putting it out on at this point. So, but Watch Dogs, telling you, probably May, but expect June. Like mid-June, and you won't be disappointed. And the game does look amazing, so no worries there. So Watch Dogs, there you go. The other thing I wanted to talk about was always online games, because Watch Dogs is a game where even though you're in the single-player world, you're always connected to the internet, so that people could just drop into the city that you're playing in, your version of Chicago, come gank your shit, and then whoosh, off they go, right? So it's this persistent online world, right? But it's always online, and I don't know if it's coded in such a way that it has to be online. I don't think that it is, but you look at games like Titanfall that only have an online component, where MAG and SOCOM servers just shut down for good. Those were always online games. And they're never going to be playable again unless they resurrect the servers. And it's not like the code's out there for the servers, so fans can't even make them on their own. Unless they do LANs, and then that's different, but it's not the same. So, my concern when it comes to the idea of collecting video games, I think you're going to see two different forks in the community, two different sects, if you will. S-E-C-T-S, not S-E-X. Although, I hope there's plenty of sects in the community, more than just two, but sects, there'll be two forks. You'll have the people that collect games that are only going to be playable all the time. Meaning, guys will only collect physical copies of Nintendo NES, Genesis, PS, whatever games that you can play without the need for any external internet connection or whatever else. Then you'll have another sect of people that will collect anything that's on their shelf for the sake of the preservation of the copy of the game. And they'll have the stuff you can always play, but they'll be just as enthusiastic about having all of the games from a historical standpoint. And the kind of middle-of-the-road casual collector that we have nowadays, and I pretty much fall into, that's kind of going to go by the wayside. It's going to be kind of like two different, extreme opinions, right? If I can't play it forever and ever, if I can't play it on my deathbed, I don't want it. Be like, but hey man, we gotta preserve the culture. And you know what? both of those people are right. But if the always online components of some games didn't exist, neither of these thought processes would even come to be in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that we should have to worry about as a community. There should be a backdoor of sorts in these games where you can turn on LAN-only play or something like that. But where you have games that, and let's face facts, I was never a MAG player, I was never a SOCOM player. But I do feel for the people that really played those games a lot, and Warhawk and whatever else, that they're never going to be able to play those games again. At least not in their current form, and that's a shame. And I shudder to think of all these games that we're about to get in this next gen that will be considered classics in their own right and won't have the kind of financial failures, quote-unquote, that MAG or SOCOM had, despite the number of players that they had. From a business standpoint, they weren't great successes, which is part of why you're seeing the servers go away now. So like Watch Dogs, Destiny, which is also always online, and a couple other games, Crew, what have you, The Division, all of them having online components just to be able to play the game. And these are the first bastions of a new generation of games. They're going to be considered the classics of this generation. And on a long enough timeline, there's a very strong possibility that those games will become relics that go on the shelf of those really kind of hipster collectors that want to just hang on to things for the sake of preserving the culture, man, which I'm all for. But it's weird to think about that, because that's just so... We've never had to ask that question before. So now I put it to you guys. Do you think that this is going to happen? Are these two different forks of the collecting community going to exist? How is it going to affect your decisions to buy different games? And here's a big one. How long is long enough, for a game? A lot of people were like, hey, certain games, using SOCOM as the example, it's like 5 or 6 years old, 7 years old, or something like that. And they're like, hey, look, it had a good run. Its time is over. You need to move on. And I can't completely disagree with that. So my question is, how long is long enough? What should the criteria be for cutting off a server? I don't know. I want to know what you think. But in the meantime, keep on grinding. We'll talk soon. Bye, guys.